Well, it has now been nearly 3 years since 33-year-old Tony Mitchell died after 2 weeks inside the Walker County Jail. According to federal court filings, Mitchell suffered horrible, inhumane conditions. Tonight, the I-Team's Cynthia Gould has an exclusive interview with a family member asking how his call for help could end so tragically.
You don't treat animals that way.
Over the last 3 years, a growing list of jailers and medical staff charged in connection with Tony Mitchell's death.
A lack of oversight in the jail, and
she's accepted responsibility for her inaction.
There are terrible circumstances, a sad situation for everybody involved.
Tony's first cousin, Steve Mitchell, haunted by questions of why so many did not step in to help.
But when you hear at least 20 people,
astonished me.
Medical, correctional officer, mental health, walked past.
To me, that's an atrocity, and that you can torture an inmate like that, and so many people knew it. And from what we can tell, from what I saw, they were actually laughing at it. You know, they're tasing him. It is a failure of humanity. That's exactly what it is. Humanity failed him. You can cut and dry it any way you want, but torture's torture.
Was this murder?
In my opinion, absolutely. Absolutely. It was calculated. It wasn't just murder, it was calculated. They knew what they were doing.
Federal court documents reveal Tony Mitchell was held in a cold cell with no toilet or access to water, no mental or medical evaluation, often nude, without a blanket or even a mat. Family says they were never called or warned his condition was worsening.
911, what's your emergency?
It was Steve Mitchell who first called 911 for a welfare check in January of 2023 after Tony arrived at his house unrecognizable.
This person was slumped over, stringy hair, and my son comes back and says, "Dad, that's Tony." And I was like, no way. I knew right away he was just totally disconnected. The best way to say it is I told my son, I said, he snapped.
Mitchell recalls Tony spoke of portals to heaven and hell and his brother who died at birth.
He said, I've got to go back to the house. I've got to put this baby in a portal. And
there, Tony allegedly fired a gun at deputies. This picture posted on social media by the sheriff's department. Instead of an ambulance, Tony left in a police car.
So they reassured us because we were concerned about his mental health. And they had told us that there would be a doctor that sees him every day. They reassured his mother that everything was going to be fine. We thought, great, we've done something great for him. And his mother was relieved. She was like, fine, he can get some help.
But that relief turned to anguish when Tony's mother was called to the hospital 2 weeks later.
When she touched him, he was cold, very, very cold, non-responsive and cold. She couldn't believe it. She was astonished at what he looked like. And it was just heartbreaking for her when she saw her son laying there.
Mitchell accuses Sheriff spokesperson T.J. Armstrong of lying.
Mr. Armstrong said that when I was talking to him on the phone that Tony was alive at the hospital and that he had set up in the bed on the hospital bed, and that as soon as he set up on the hospital bed, he had a massive heart attack and died. It's hard to believe that your loved one is in that shape, and you sent them there to get them help.
The family was told Tony had been combative in jail, throwing feces and refusing medical help. Allegations refuted in federal court filings. The cause of death, hypothermia and sepsis due to medical neglect.
Do you see any way the higher-ups, the jail administrator, the sheriff, didn't know this was going on for 2 weeks?
I don't know what Nick knew and he didn't know, but I do know this. If you didn't know, that within itself is a terrible, terrible synopsis to your job.
Mitchell explained Tony's downward spiral began after his father's death just months earlier, so different from the person he once knew.
Tony was a gentle giant. Everybody that knew Tony, he was magnetic. You would love Tony if you knew him. Remember that Tony was a human being. You know, he was charismatic. He loved life. He enjoyed people. And just think about one thing. This could have been your child.
Now, Sheriff Nick Smith and the Walker County Commission have repeatedly declined to comment on the case. TJ Armstrong is no longer with the Sheriff's Office. He also declined comment. Civil lawsuits brought by the family have settled as the criminal investigations are continuing. Cynthia Gould, ABC 3340 I-Team.